Hi guys, well, hope you enjoyed this creepypasta video. I'm sorry I couldn't add any creepy music in, but I couldn't. Anyway, so enjoy it anyway. Goodbye. This is Callum and welcome to just a quick intro, I guess. Welcome to a brand new series, and this one's going to be really different compared to like everything else on my channel. So, in this series, I'll be reading creepypastas. Yeah, I know. Kind of extra, isn't it? But I just thought how well my SONIC.EXE video went earlier on today as I'm recording this. I thought, why not read creepypastas? So I will be doing this for a while. Some will be like this one when you can see gameplay in the background, and some will just be like audio ones. Like you can there's like an image in the actual video. But apart from that, yeah, that's pretty much it basically. But and in the first episode of this series, I don't know what it's going to be called yet. Like probably like I don't really know. I'll figure out the name later. And this one's going to be SONIC.EXE. I just thought, why not start with SONIC.EXE, because it's apparently like one of the oldest haunted video game creepypastas there is. So I just thought, why not start with that one? So yeah, I'm just gonna cut over to my future me, I guess, if that makes sense, to carry on the rest of the story. But I won't. Yeah, this is just in the intro. So yeah, and in the actual gameplay, it's gonna be like a new world or something, or maybe servers or something. It's just so like, yeah. So yeah, let's. I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics. I don't think I've ever played glitchy or hacked games before, though I don't think I want to play after the experience I had. It started on a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed. I liked how you get to explore the towns in it, until I noticed on my peripheral vision that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox as usual, and left. I paused my game to go see what I got in the mail. The only thing in the mailbox was a CD case for computers, and a note. I took it inside. I looked at the note, and first I realised it was from my dear friend Kyle. Rezus Krumnath, whom I've not heard of from in 2 weeks. I know that because I recognised his handwriting. Though what was weird was how it looked. It looked badly written and scratchy and somewhat difficult to read, as if Kyle was having a hard time writing it down and did it in a hurry. This is what he wrote. Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late, and I was hoping you'll do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me, and if you don't destroy the CD, he'll come after you too. He's too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the disc and you'll destroy him. But do it quick, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's what he wants. Just destroy it. Please. Kyle. Well, that was certainly weird. Even though Kyle is my best friend and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks, I didn't do what he asked me. I didn't think that a simple gaming disc would do anything bad to him. After all, it's just a game, right? Boy, was I wrong about that. Anyway, I looked at the disc, and it looked like an ordinary computer CDR disc, except it had black marker on it written SONIC.EXE, and it looked much unlike Kyle's handwriting, meaning that he must have gotten it from somewhere else, like a pawn shop or eBay. When I saw Sonic on the right of the CD, I was excited and wanted to play it, since I am a big Sonic fan. I went up to my room and turned on my computer and put the disc in and installed the game. When the title screen popped up, I noticed that it was the first Sonic game. I was like, awesome, because like I said earlier, I like the classics. The first thing I noticed that I was out of place was when I pressed start. There was a split-second frame when I saw the title image turned into something much different, something that I now consider horrifying, before cutting to black. I remember what the image looked like. In that split second before the game cut to black, the sky had darkened, the title emblem was rusted and ruined. The Sega 1991 was now instead Sega 666, and the water turned red like blood, except it looked hyper-realistic. But the freakiest thing that was in that split-second frame was Sonic. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding, with two glowing red dots staring right at me, and his smile had stretched wider up to the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed about that image when I saw it, though I figured that it was just a glitch and forgot about it. After it cut to black, it stayed like that for about 10 seconds or so, and then another weird thing happened. The save file select from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 popped up. I was like, what the hell? What is this doing in the first Sonic game? Anyway, then I noticed something off. The background was the dark cloudy sky of the bad Stardust Speedway level from Sonic CD, and there was only 3 save files. The music was that creepy Caverns of Winter music from Earthbound, only it was extended and seemed to have been in reverse, and the image for the save file where you see a preview of the level was only just red static for all 3 files. What freaked me out more was the character select. It showed only Tails, Knuckles, and to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. Now I saw something was up. I mean, how can you play as Robotnik in a classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? Then that's when I realised that this wasn't a glitchy game, it was a hacked game. Yeah, it definitely looked hacked. It was really creepy, but as a smart gamer, I wasn't scared, or at least I tried not to be. I told myself that this was just a hacked game and there was nothing wrong with that. Anyways, shaking off the creeped out feeling, I picked file 1 and chose Tails, and when I selected and got started, the game froze for about 5 seconds, and I heard a creepy piscated laugh that sounded a lot like that Kefka guy from Final Fantasy before cutting to black. The screen stayed black for about 10 seconds or more. Then it showed the typical level title thing, except the simplistic shapes were different shades of red, and the text only showed Hill, Act 1. The screen faded in and the level title vanished, revealing Tails in the green hill zone from Sonic 1. The music was different though. It sounded a lot like a peaceful melody in reverse. Anyway, I started playing and had Tails start running like you would in any of the classic Sonic games. What was odd was that Tails was running along the level. There was nothing but flat ground and a few trees for 5 minutes. Then that was when the peaceful music started to lower down and into slow, deep tones very slowly as I kept going. I suddenly saw something and I stopped to see what it was. It was one of the small animals lying dead on the ground, bleeding. That's when the music started to slow down. Tails had a shocked and saddened look on his face that I never saw him have before. So I had him move along and he kept that worried look on his face. As he kept moving, I saw more dead animals as Tails moved past them, looking more and more worried. As the music lowers and he moves past more dead animals, I was shocked to see how they all died. They looked like somebody killed them in rather gruesome ways. A squirrel was hanged on a tree with what appeared to be his entrails hanging out. A bunny had all 4 of his limbs torn off, and a duck had his eyes gouged out and his throat slit. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw this massacre, and apparently so did Tails. After a few more seconds there was no more animals, and the music seemed to have stopped. I still kept Tails to continue. After a minute passed after the music stopped, Tails was running up a hill, and he stopped. It wasn't until I saw why. Sonic was there, on the other side of the screen, with his back against Tails, with his eyes closed. Tails looked happy to see Sonic, but then his smile flattered, obviously noticing that Sonic wasn't responding to him, if not acting like he was totally oblivious to Tails' presence. Tails walked slowly towards Sonic, and I noticed that I wasn't even moving my keyboard to make it move, so this had to be like a cutscene. Suddenly, I began to have a growing feeling of dread as Tails walked closer to Sonic to get his attention. I felt like Tails was in danger and something bad was going to happen. I heard faint static growing louder as Tails was brought inches away from Sonic and stopped and stuck his hand out to touch him. That forbidding feeling in my gut was growing stronger as I felt the urge to tell Tails to get away from Sonic as the static grew louder. Suddenly, in a split second, I saw Sonic's eyes open, and they were that black with glowing red dots, just like the title image. For there wasn't a smile. When that happened, the screen turned black and the static sound was off. It stayed black for about 7 seconds, and then white text appeared, forming a new message, saying, "Hello, do you want to play with me?" At this point, I was creeped out. I didn't want to continue with the game, but my curiosity got the better of me when I was taken to a different level, with the level titles now saying Hide and Seek. This time I was in the Angel Island level from SONIC.EXE, and it looked like everything was on fire. Tails looked as though he was scared out of his wits this time. He actually looked at me and made frantic gestures to me, as if he wanted me to get out of the area he was in as fast as possible. I was starting to get freaked out by this. I mean, Tails was actually breaking the fourth wall, telling me to get him out of there. So I pressed down the arrow key as hard as I could and made him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of that creepy theme when you meet Shadow in the arc as Robotnik from Sonic Adventure 2 was playing as I made Tails trek through the desolated forest, trying to help him escape from whatever he was trying to run from. Suddenly I heard that creepy laugh again, that awful Kefka laugh, right after 10 seconds have passed as I helped Tails run through the forest, and then I started to see flashes of Sonic popping everywhere on the screen again with those black and red eyes. The music changed to that suspenseful drowning jingle as I see Sonic behind Tails, slowly gaining up on him, flying. Sonic wasn't running, he was actually flying. The flying pose his sprite was making looked very familiar to Metal Sonic's flying pose in Sonic CD, except it was just Sonic and his black and red eyes again. Only this time he had the most deranged looking grin on his face. He looked like as though he was enjoying the torment he was giving the poor little fox as he gained up on him. Suddenly, when Tails tripped, another cutscene. The music stopped and Sonic vanished. Tails laid there and started crying for 15 seconds. The scene was rather upsetting to watch, and I kind of teared up myself. But then Sonic appeared right in front of Tails, and Tails looked up in horror. Blood started to come down those blackened eyes of Sonic as a grin slowly grew from his face as he looked down at the horrified fox. I could do nothing but watch. Just in a split second, Sonic lunged at Tails right before the screen went black. There was a loud screeching noise and it only lasted 5 seconds. The text returned, only this time it said, "You're too slow. Wanna try again?" And then that god-awful laugh came with it. I was shocked by what had happened. Did Sonic murder Tails? No, he couldn't have. He and Tails are supposed to be best friends, right? Why did Sonic do that to him? I shook that shock off as I was brought back to the character select. The save file that had Tails was different. Tails was no longer in the box itself, but in the TV screen itself, which was flickering with that red static. Tails' expression scared me. His eyes were black and bleeding, his orange fur had gone black, and he had an expression of anguish on his face. Trying to ignore it, I picked Knuckles next. The laugh came again, and the screen cut to black, and stayed there for another 10 seconds. This time the level said, "You can't run." I was really freaked out by now, but I couldn't really tell if this was a glitch or a hack, or some type of a sick, twisted joke, or anything really. But despite my fear of what happened next, I kept praying. The next level looked much like the ground of the Scrap Brain Zone, but the sky background looked like the main menu. It had like a dark reddish cloudy sky, but it was the music that creeped me out the most. It sounded like Geiger's theme right after you beat Pokey in Earthbound. I also noticed that Knuckles looked afraid, just like Tails though, just not as much. More rather, he was a bit unnerved. He broke the fourth wall just like Tails, and looked as if he wasn't sure about going on, but I made him move anyway. He ran down the straight pathway in this dark level, and as he did, the screen started to flicker, and red static a couple times appeared, and then that mattering laugh came again. And then after a few more seconds of running, I noticed several bloodstains on the metallic ground. I felt a growing sense of fear again, thinking something bad was going to happen to Knuckles. He looked nauseated, walking on this bloody stained road, but I still kept on going. Suddenly, as Knuckles ran, Sonic appeared right in front of him, with those black and red eyes, and then red static appeared again. Then the static vanished, showing nothing but black screen, with text saying, "Found you." I was now scared. Sonic found Knuckles already? What was going on? Anyway, red static came again, and then I was back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was panicking a bit, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. And this time that high-pitched squealing from the Siren Hill 1 final boss was playing. Was this some kind of boss battle with Sonic? I hope to God it wasn't, honestly. Suddenly, Sonic appeared right behind Knuckles in what appeared to be like a pixelated black smoke. I made Knuckles turn and punch Sonic, but Sonic vanished in the black pixelated smoke before I could even land a hit. That terrible laugh went off again. Then Sonic appeared right behind Knuckles again, and I made him punch again, but Sonic kept vanishing again. Laughing, Knuckles was panicking even more, and even I felt like I was going crazy. Sonic was practically playing with us. He was playing a sick, twisted little mind game with me and Knuckles. Another cutscene played as Knuckles fell on his knees and clutched his head, sobbing. I felt his agony. Sonic was driving us both crazy. And then a split second, Sonic lunged at Knuckles and the screen went black with another distorted screeching noise that lasted for about 3 seconds. Another text image appeared. So many souls to play with. So little time. Would you agree? What the hell? What is going on? I started to think that Sonic was trying to talk to me through the game, but I was too scared to think that. I was brought back to the main menu, and this time the second file box had Knuckles in the TV screen. His red fur had darkened to a reddish grey, his dreadlocks were dripping with blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding too, and he had a look of sadness on his face. I began to think that those were the actual characters trapped in those TV screens or on the save files, but I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. So I shut off the game and took a break. I took a nap, wish I hadn't, because I then began to have the most disturbing nightmare. I was in pitch black darkness, though I was under the light given off by a lamp that hung above my head. I could hear the cries of Knuckles and Tails nearby. They were saying stuff like, "Help us," "Why did you give us to him?" and "Run away before he gets you too." Their cries died out as I heard Sonic's laugh. His laugh sounded rough like that distorted Kefka laugh. "You're raw fun to play with, kid, just like your friend Kyle," though he didn't last long. I was scared and looking around for the source of the voice. "Won't be long now until you join him, and all my other friends." I saw him walking towards me, flicking in and out at several directions. "You can't run, kid. You're in my world now, just like the others." When he grabbed me, I saw his bleeding and black and red wide-eyed, grinning face. I woke up with a fright. After a couple hours, I decided to continue with the game. I don't know why, I just had to know. I had to figure out why this was happening, so I turned on the computer, turned on the game, and selected Robotnik next. I still thought that was a wacky playing as Robotnik, but anyway, the level title appeared again. And this time it said ... which I found really freaky. This time I was in some kind of hallway. Didn't look like it was from any of the classic Sonic games, though it had a pixelated style. The floor was shiny and checkered. The floor were a dark greyish purple with animated candle lights, and a few dark bloodstains here and there. And there was a dark red curtain hanging above on the top part of the screen. Every 12 seconds or so, that red curtain sways very slowly whenever you're playing the game. You can barely see it move. The music was oddly present. A piano playing a rather sad yet peaceful song, but I knew better. This was the song that played in Hill, Act 1, but it wasn't in reverse. Robotnik didn't look entirely nervous like Tails and Knuckles did, but he did have a suspicious look on his face, as if he was just a bit paranoid. He did a little animation where you left him standing. He turns his head left and right at least twice, and then shrugs at me, as if he had no idea where he was or where he was going, even though I was scared out of my mind about what was going to happen. I had Robotnik continue onwards. He did his usual running animation. You know when you beating him at the end of a classic Sonic game and you chase him. As he continued going through the hallway, then I stopped at a long flight of stairs leading downwards. Now I was nervous. Even Robotnik wasn't even sure of himself, though I pressed onwards. As I led Robotnik down the stairs, I noticed that the walls have gotten darker, more reddish. The red torches are now an eerie blue, and we landed onto another hallway. This one was longer than the last one, or at least it felt like it. And then we headed down another flight of stairs. This one was much longer. It took at least 1 full minute. And then I heard that horrid Kefka laugh again. And then the music slowed down until it was quiet. And as it did, the walls turned more dark red and the torches were black frame now. When Robotnik landed on the third hallway, I noticed he now looked really creeped out, though he tried to hide it. I couldn't really blame him. I was scared too. Suddenly Sonic popped right in front of Robotnik, the same way he did Knuckles. And then red static. The red static lasted for about 15 seconds, and then it showed me on the most unpleasant image. The image showed a hyper-realistic of Sonic standing in the darkness where you can only see his face, while his head and torso faded into black. And when I say hyper-realistic, I mean like he looked so real you could actually see the lines in his blue fur, and you could actually feel the fur if you touched the screen. His face, oh god, he had the most horrifying face I have ever seen. And that was saying something, considering I saw that image at the start of the game. His eyes are wide and black, and once again crying blood, which also looked hyper realistic. And there were 2 small glowing red dots in those black eyes, staring right at me, as if he's staring into my mind. His grin was wide and demonic. His ridgy stretched to the side of his face like a Cheshire cat, except Sonic had fangs, really sharp fangs, much like the werewolf's teeth, except more vicious looking, somewhat yellowish. From the look of it, he had stains of blood and small bits of flesh on his lips and fangs, as he ate some animal. I stared at that gruesome image for a good 30 seconds, never taking my eyes off it. I felt like if he was actually looking at me, smiling at me. That face, it just took 10 seconds for it to edge itself into my brain for good. Then the screen flickered with red static again 3 times, and on the 3rd time I heard that Kef go off again, except this time it sounded distorted, demonic even. I went back to the image again, except this time there was text again, though it was messed up, but it was the most pretty much one of the horrifying things I've looked at since I had this game. I am God. It was when I read that message while I was looking at Sonic when it hit me. I realised right there and then this Sonic was a monster, a pure, evil, sadistic, all-powerful, nightmarish, demented monster, and all of his victims including Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, and possibly Kyle, or just his little toys, and the game is the very gateway to his chaotic and nightmarish world, and the very hell his victims are trapped in. Suddenly, in an actual split second, I screamed as Sonic lunged at the screen, screeching loudly with his mouth wide open to an unnatural length, revealing nothing but a literal spiraling abyss of pure darkness. Before the red static came again, this time much louder and distorted, so loud that it hurt my ears. I yelled and grabbed my ears as the red static screeched for a good 7 seconds. Then it stopped and showed me nothing but black screen. As I sat there, staring at the black screen, one last text came up. "Ready for round 2, Tom?" The Kefka now sounded more clear, as if Sonic was right behind me. Played again 3 times as I looked at that text in shock and confusion. Then I got booted back to the main menu, and this time the 3rd save file had a TV image of Robotnik, in the same tormented state as Tails and Knuckles. Robotnik's skin was turned a dull grey, his moustache drooped, and blackening, his glasses broke and blood coming from them, and he had a mere dead expression on his face. I looked at Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik, and I cried a little bit. I pitied them for the agony they're going through. They're forever trapped within the game, forever tormented by the horrid hedgehog, and always will be. Then the computer shut itself off. I couldn't turn it back on no matter what I did. I sat there for maybe 25 seconds, but horrified to what just happened. Sonic is the very embodiment of evil. He tortures people who play his game in more ways than one, and when he gets bored, he drags you in the game, literally drags you to hell, where he can play with you always as his toy. I can't get the game out of my computer, and I think it's stuck in there, but at least I managed to turn it back on now. After I sat there for 25 seconds, I heard a voice behind me, like a whisper. "Try to keep this interesting for me, Tom." I turned around to see where the voice came from, and what I saw made me scream. Sitting on my bed, staring right at me, was a Sonic plushie, smiling, with bloodstains under its eyes. So yeah, that's the end of SONIC.EXE. Oh, that was a good story. Yeah, I do admit it's kind of dated compared to Creepypastas today, but it's still an iconic one nonetheless. No matter if it's good or bad, you have to admit it's at least iconic. And I don't think it's that bad. Yeah, it's not, I don't believe it, it's not real, but when I first read it, it just gave me, like, you know, that sense of wonder and sense of, like, could a game really be this haunted or whatever. But yeah, I will be doing more of these Creepypastas narrations in the future, do not worry about that. I don't know what Creepypasta I'll do next. Let me know in the comments of this video if you want to, what Creepypasta I should react to next. Because I'm all in. Because some Creepypasta narrations will be audio, and some will be or have a video to watch in the background, like this episode was. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video here. I don't know when the next narration, when the next Creepypasta will be. You just have to tune to watch that. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.